What's going on, people? It's your boy Eskino Fly. Don't mind the shirt. It's laundry day. I'm about to get all my clothes together, including this shirt, because the collar's about to get worn out. And I'm about to go wash my colors and the whites. Um, I yesterday I did a podcast and we was talking about the feminization of black men, or do you believe that a lot the feminization of black men? And me, I know a lot of some people don't, but yeah, I do believe. I've always said yes. I do believe there's people try to feminize black men, or let's just say um make black people look. I I take it a step further, not just effeminize black men, because I think but I think it's to make black people look soft, and a lot of people don't understand where I'm coming from when I say you trying to make black people look so. And one thing, so let me, and talked about it a little bit on the podcast, but I feel like I should probably elaborate here more. I might put what I said on the podcast, but let me say something. First things first, because I know we was talking about the boys, the what, excuse me, what made me bring this topic up, because I saw the joint called "Boys Will Be Princesses Too." I and something about that organization, nothing to do with the kids. And I know people still going to hit me up, but it has nothing to do with the kids. It's something about that organization that kind of bugs me. That I don't trust it. I don't find it very genuine. I think I don't know, there's like an underlying tone to that. Um, Also, look, I feel like the people there, and one of the things, and if you ask me why, and I tell people, it's not really that deep, but I do have this theory that they're not going after like boys that are trying to be, that are, I think, if you're gay and you kind of like want to be a princess, but I feel like they're trying to go after young straight boys, or something like that, or it's just like I've always. I'll try to say this in the most non-homophobic way, because I feel like some people still say it's homophobic. The people who they decide their kids what to wear dresses and all that other stuff. I feel like those parents don't have a guided path of where they want. So I feel like as a parent, you need to guide your children to at least be good parents and all that other stuff. But I do feel like there are roles that men and women do that, like either you're wearing a dress or not, that you should put these things in there. So it has nothing to do with dresses, but I feel like those parents just don't know what. And I know most of them don't believe in gender. It's a social construct and all that other stuff. So it's just a lot of things. It's not really that deep, but for some reason with that organization, the Boys to Be Princesses Too, I don't know, something about their organization. And my other thing is, there are other royalties besides princesses. It's cool. Like, it's cool, but it's cool you want to do that. Boys can be princess, but what if I want my son to be a prince? Now I get it. I can start my own shit, but I know most people are like, if you want that, you can start your own shit. And you're right. But, I feel like none of that. But if I did start my own shit, would you give me the same publicity as you would with the Boys Can Be Princesses Too? That's where and this is where I feel like some things are not genuine. It's like, because I say this all the time. Like, Steve Harvey, he has a camp, to mention young boys and all that other stuff. And I think people know about it, I feel like it doesn't get as much publicity as most people think. Is like, I feel like people like me, they always bring it up because I know about it, and I try to tell as much people I can know about it. But I feel like it starts with me. Sometimes, and this is just me. Sometimes I feel like it starts with me and it stops with me. Like, I would say this, and y'all just, and most people just like, all right, whatever, nigga. That's how I feel about that. Um, and I was just, and it made me think, because there's like 12 Disney princesses. There's a lot of movies about princesses. It's not that many movies about princes that I know, except for the artist formerly known as Prince. The only movies that I know that was based on Prince, and one they're adult, and that's Coming to America, my favorite movie. Coming to America about Prince Hakeem and all that other stuff. But I don't know many movies that's for kids that is like, okay, it's like the things of a young princess. Now I get it. Us as boys, we have superhero movies. Sometimes we have the G.I. Joes, which they don't really show no more. They don't really show the G.I. Joes and all that other stuff. And I feel like a lot of people try to get away from that because I feel like they feel like that's promoting toxic masculinity, which in my opinion is bullshit. Because if you ever watch those shows, they always have lessons in them. Even in the action movies, they have lessons in them. Especially like G.I. Joe is like if you're littering, if someone is littering, one of the G.I. Joe said, "Hey man, littering is bad." Uh, I remember in wrestling, like a lot of so there's always a lot of macho men, a lot of masculine men in wrestling. Hulk Hogan is one of them. Hulk Hogan used to tell kids, eat your vitamins, minerals and all that stuff to be a good person. You have John Cena, never give up. He's about as masculine as anything. I feel like you don't see a lot of those for movies. Like, where is the movies for a prince? Like a young boy, going through, their trials and tribulations as a prince, or like them going on adventures. You don't see a lot of that. And if you can name any other movie than Coming to America that involves a prince and he's the main character, please let me know. Please let me. But if you're like naming Disney princesses with the princess in a movie, like let's say the Princess and the Frog, because I know the person she fell in love with was the prince. He wasn't the main character in the movie. He was actually the supporting role. Tiana was the main character. It was about her movie. Um, so that's basically why it may not look, and I will admit it's not a strong reason. I tell people all the time, it's not a strong reason, but it's still something about that I side eye. I don't understand it yet, but it's side eye. Another thing when it comes to like the feminization of black men, and I make sure I'm adamant about this all the time. When people think about the feminization of black men, they kind of like the first people they go to is homosexuality or the LGBT community, and I've always said I disagree. I've always disagreed with that because even in the LGBT community, they're men. Or let's just speaking with gay men, they're still men. Like their road to manhood, they still have like even if they're not macho, some of them are feminine. They still have their road to manhood or their own journey of what they have to go through to find themselves as men. Like so like even I've said this before. I know some gay people that just act real regular. They're not as extra flamboyant. They're not really out there. There's some gay alphas. There's some gay betas. Just like there's some straight alphas. There's some straight betas. All right. It doesn't matter. Like, and especially in DC, like if you think you can like run up on these gay people, nah, they'll fight you and they'll whoop your ass. And I've said this all the time. One thing about DC, yes, we do have gay niggas, but them dudes can fight, and them dudes will fuck you up. And like I said, each and every one of them, as men, we go through our own journeys, our own personal journeys to find ourselves and who we are as men. So I don't. So even homosexuality, you may not agree with it, but I don't think it hurts the feminine. I don't think it's the reason why people think it's feminized. Who I do think it is feminized. I've always said it. White people, not to be prejudiced, but white people. And the reason why I said white people is because, as a black man, and as black men, we all know this. We are sometimes we have this face, and I've always said we have this intimidating face that just says, "Don't fuck with us." Like we could be in a great mood, but we got this. Sometimes we got this look that don't fuck with us and all that other stuff, and I feel like a lot of white people fear that, and I feel like they want that for themselves. I feel like as far as white people, they always want to be feared or respected, even so, but a lot of them don't really when it comes to like let's say being scary and all that other stuff. I feel like black people we just hold that down, or like black people we just got this like machismo about this stuff that really cannot be, in my opinion, cannot be matched with other races. I know this like even with white people they have their machismo men, but sometimes they try to oversell themselves to be machismo. And for black people, we just got that swagger where it's just like it's natural. And I feel like that's been in our ancestors' genes for like the longest. We're just naturally, even like I said, even gay men, they're just naturally macho and all that other stuff. And and I know I've always said this too, and I feel like a lot of white people trying to negate that, especially with the things like the minstrel shows, or they say, or the stereotypes like people don't put on is like all we like is fried chicken and watermelon, or black people talk like this, or in the minstrel shows, they try to make them as stupid as possible, and then it comes to a point: is are you laughing with me or are you laughing at me? And sometimes white people will laugh at you because if they laugh at you, they have nothing to fear. Sort of like a caged animal. Like a caged animal or something like that. Like it's all fun and games. It's like you can look at it, but once that animal is out the loose, you know that if it comes to you, it could kill you. Something like a lion or a gorilla. If a gorilla escapes a cage, it's like and it grabs you, that's your ass because gorilla is really strong and all that other stuff. I feel like a lot of people fear us in that way of animals. I don't and it's history is proven because we was not. They didn't even look at us human beings as once. They always looked at us as savages. Even like the Native Americans, they kind of look at them as savages. But I know they've always looked at us as savages as well. I feel like so in order to us to make white people feel better, they're either like over machismo, like it's like an over machismo thing, where it's like to a point where it is toxic masculinity, or they put us in places where we're like fools, or we're like really stupid, or it's just like we just look really stupid or really, really ignorant to things. And this is what I feel like a lot of people have the problem with the men in dresses. Is like because sometimes
Still using the computer?
here you go. And here's my opinion about the people like why black men are against men in dresses, because I feel like in one way it's I feel like it's a white person's way to like, how can I say this? I guess where emasculate comes from is like, I think it's a lot of black people look at it as white people's version of taking your manhood, or like buck breaking you. Because just like in slavery, like in order to get the slaves to fear the slave masters, they get the biggest and the strongest, and then beat them or rape them, bucking and all that other stuff. I feel like when they want to see a lot of people have problems with the dresses is that they see these black men in dresses. That's metaphor. It's metaphorically bucking us because not only like they put them in dresses, they act like mammies and all that other stuff, or they act real ignorant and all. I feel like that's what the minstrel shows and the anything that try to put black people in a bad light, like the over machismo gangsters and all that other stuff that we see, and the ignorance. I feel like that's their way of bookmarking us. So because even if we're like black smart people who, like the nerds are like really weak or just like cringy. So I feel like that's just white people's version of emasculating us. So when they don't, how can I say this? So when they do this stuff like us, they're laughing at us, and then it's like, oh, they're not so bad at all, and they. It's just. I hope I'm coming through this correctly. If anybody watches this, I hope I'm trying to come through this correctly because it's like I don't blame gay men for that because gay men got their own shit, they got their own shit to worry about. I don't even just I don't even worry about them when it comes to unless you like download. Unless it's like the download brothers. I don't really worry about them. I never worried about homosexuality and all that other stuff. I've seen it my whole life. It's never influenced me. It never forced me to nothing. But it's just like, but I've seen things. But like, I would be lying when I see things on TV that make black people look bad. And I feel like even shows like, and this is just for the women, like the Real Housewives and all that other stuff. Black Ink or all them shows that just make black people look ignorant, look like we all want to fight, or like when they finally get the taste of fame or the other stuff, they try to be better than the other niggas, and then you got this whole keep it up with the Joneses type of bullshit. So yes, they got the mentality of mob wives, but how many of those you see compared to the motherfucking how can I say it? How many shows you seen with black people just acting a fool compared to some of the white shows where they're acting a fool? Even in like Real World, like or Jersey Shore, what they try to do, like they wasn't as popular as Jersey Shore was. I don't feel like it wasn't like it couldn't touch Flavor of Love, or like I feel like they couldn't touch Flavor of Love or real hip hop, Love and Hip Hop and all the other stuff. So I feel like that's if you're not going to emasculate us through, stereotypes, they're going to emasculate us through TV and, dumb it down. And the other thing is, you've seen this a lot in TV or, movies. It's like when a black person is on the set and they have to play a street role and a black person, like, he tried to play as a gangster role and all that, and a white person says, I don't feel it. Like, I don't feel like you're really hood, or they say something like, "Can you throw something really hood? Can you just be really hood for me?" and all that other stuff. And then people say, "Oh, you want me to act like a nigga?" and all that other stuff. They fear. In short, I feel like if something in like the time, I don't know about how long Boys Will Be Princesses will go on, but like I said, it's has nothing to do with the kids. It's more or less. And I would say this, more or less that organization. Nothing to do with the kids. More or less the organization. I'm pretty sure I'm going to get disliked on this anyway. But, and also, I don't blame homosexuality on the feminizing the black man. I know a lot of people are going to have their own say about that, but I never blame the LGBT community about that because they got their own shit to be worried about. And plus, if someone is gay, it doesn't really affect you. It doesn't really affect you. It doesn't affect me. But they still have their own, like they're still men and they go through their own journeys of manhood. So, and also, yeah, one more thing, men are not a monolith. So let's just, the more we show different types of, black men, the more I feel like we have a whole of ourselves as a people. Like, let's show the men that, that's not just the ball players or the rappers. Let's show the men that become doctors. Let's show the men that become outstanding good citizens. Let's show the hardworking construction man. Hell, let's show the men that do ballet or, hell, let's show the men that can cook. We are so many different things as black men that we have so many talents and we don't invent so many things that we need to show that. We don't have, now I don't have the problems with the ball players and the rappers. Obviously, I'm a hip hop head. But let's show these other parts of a black man that other people don't get to see a lot. And I obviously in 2020, I hope that's where it goes. So let me know what y'all think. Y'all can leave it in the comment section. Um, I tried not to babble, but at the same time, I feel like I was a lot to say on this. So I hope I got through this clearly, and I really hope that people agree with what I'm saying about feminizing a black man. Till then, my name is Eskino Fly, and I'm out. Peace.